Podcast Answer Man, episode number 43. This show is sponsored by AG Design.
Need a new website, logo, or artwork for your podcast? Visit ageedesign.com today.
Hey everybody, Cliff Ravenscraft here, playing you some Christmas intro music today. Something a little different than what we're used to. Oh yeah. All right, welcome back to the Podcast Answer Man. My name is Cliff Ravenscraft, and if you're new to this show, this is a podcast all about podcasting and new media, technology, Web 2.0, all that good jazz, all that fun stuff that I hope to find some way to make a living doing starting in, just a few days now. Let's see. As I record this, there are only 11 days, 5 hours, 0 minutes, and 25 seconds until I begin a brand new career in podcasting and new media full-time, hopefully for the rest of my life. And today I come to you with a unique episode, and it's not going to be one like you've heard ever before here on the Podcast Answer Man show. The title of the title of today's show is called New Media Peas and Boobs on Ice. All right, and I'll explain to you why the title in just a moment. Now, of course, along with this, I have already created a full blog entry for the folks who want to read the blog entry that goes along with this podcast in the show notes section over at podcastanswerman.com. That will automatically forward you over to my blog at cliffravenscraft.com. Anyway, yes, New Media Peas and Boobs on Ice. And here's what I want to explain to you. I have recently witnessed the most astonishing thing in the area of new media and social networking. Now, obviously, in the last 2 years, I've witnessed a lot of wonderful things. I've witnessed people from all continents on Earth listening to our shows, with several hundred of you, hundreds of you, who have participated in what we now call the GSPN.TV community. And seeing us all bind together around all the things that we share in common, rather than focusing and debating and arguing about the places where we disagree on our religion and politics and all these other things, it's been an amazing thing to see everybody kind of come together and just share our shared passions and encourage one another on a daily basis. That has been amazing. However, recently, these past few days and weeks, I have just been blown away by what I guess I would call a phenomenon. It is just an amazing thing, and I'm gonna coin the term, unless somebody else has already coined the term, but I'm gonna call them new media peas. The new media peas are showing up everywhere. Now, if you are on Twitter, and if you're not, you need to go to twitter.com/GSPN and check it out. You'll see what all Cliff's up to out there. And not only that, but it'll be very easy for you to figure out what Twitter is and then sign up for an account, by the way. But anyway, most of you listening to this podcast already use Twitter. And if you use Twitter, you'll notice that a few days ago, something started to happen. Everybody's avatar, the little picture that goes into the account, like when you go to the Twitter page, or if you use Twitterific or one of these other wonderful third-party applications, you know how it shows the little icon, the picture of the people using the Twitter application. Their avatars started turning green. The first person I noticed that had this greenness added to it was Good Things Coming, our good friend Kim from the Girls Night In podcast.com. Anyway, she usually has in her avatar a picture of a bowl of popcorn. And that's because they review a movie once a month. And I just noticed that it had changed to a bowl of peas instead of popcorn. And I couldn't really understand what that was all about. Now, before I explain to you what the peas are all about, I want to tell you that it's all surrounding a woman by the name of Susan Reynolds. Now, I came across this, or the name Susan Reynolds came across my radar about 3 months ago. It was right at the time when I announced that I'm going to quit my insurance career, and I am going to pursue a full-time career in podcasting and new media. And at that time, I was talking with Kim, by the way, and she said, one of the things that you may want to check out is Second Life. I know that you're very big into social and new media and stuff like that, but Second Life has really grown, and of course, I'm aware of all the political things as far as the debates even, maybe not debates, but town hall meetings and all kinds of neat things happening there, but I've just never bit the bullet. That's one thing that I have not really tried, and that's because I've been afraid of being addicted to this little online fictitious world. I know that in the past I would get into Ages of Empires and play and play and play, but Second Life is something that she convinced me. She said, there is really a whole realm of business that's happening in Second Life. And of course, I've heard about the value of the Linden dollar and all of these other things and some of the other new media projects that or podcasts that I listen to. And so I was very much interested, but just something that with, continuing on and finishing out 2007, working at the agency during the day and then working on producing, 20 podcasts during the evening and putting together all the business stuff, setting up LLCs and tax forms and everything else. It's just been something I put on the back burner. But back in the time when she was sharing that, she goes, "You really need to follow Susan Reynolds." Now, she is really big into the business aspect and the marketing aspect of Second Life, and she'd be a terrific resource for you. And so I wrote that down. I have that actually, I have it scribbled down on a yellow pad for notes of things that I want to follow up on once I officially launch into the brand new year. And so Susan Reynolds, her name was already on the radar. Now, recently, her name came up again, and it's because I asked a very important question. I asked folks, because I was on Twitter, and of course I'm on Twitter all day long, every day, and one of the things I noticed was Kim's bowl of popcorn appeared to turn to a bowl of peas for no reason whatsoever. And then all of a sudden I noticed that some other people started incorporating peas into the background of their avatar. And it's just been an increasing number of people on a daily basis that just have, overwhelmingly turned their avatars green. And so I asked an important question. I said, what's going on with all these peas? I apologize for maybe being stuck under a rock the past few days or past few weeks. I realize this has been going on for a while now, but now I'm starting to take notice here. Please, somebody tell me what's going on. And that's when the whole story of Susan Reynolds came back up again. And so the explanation of what's been going on is that Susan Reynolds, I guess, I'm not sure if it was just early December or what, but she was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. And, I read her blog entry about how this all came about. In fact, she has a blog entry, which I'll have in the show notes for episode, oh crud, what episode is this? Somebody help me. It's episode 43. So if you go to episode 43 show notes at podcastanswerman.com, you'll see a link to her blog entry that's titled, "What's Up with the Peas?" And in that, basically, long story short, when she went in to be tested, they did all kinds of poking and prodding and basically in her own words, she said to keep the bleeding down and to relieve the pain, she needed to keep things cool. By things, I think you know what I'm talking about. Traditional ice packs were hard and heavy, and as she said, as much as I try to be a good sport, I'm not into having a brick sitting on my chest, is basically what she said. And so this is where the bag of frozen peas comes into the story. And she wrote this, and I love how she put this. She goes, I tucked the bag of frozen peas into my bra, and I took a picture. And it was ready, and then she said, I was then ready to tell the story later that night. The bag of peas added a touch of lightness to what could have been a sad and serious tale, and thus began the uplifting, encouraging support of the new media community. And I will tell you, if you go to twitter.com/Susan Reynolds and check out her avatar, it is a picture of her with a bag of frozen peas stuck in her bra. The most amazing thing here is what Susan did was she just shared and broke the news of something so serious, a crisis in her life, to where, I don't know about you, but for me personally, when I learn of somebody who's suffering through a very, very, very big crisis or a trial or something, that just some major suffering happening in their life, I am always at a loss for how to encourage somebody, how to approach them, what to say, what not to say, almost to the point where I'd rather avoid them than to be around them, because I am so afraid of how I might react or what I might say that I might prompt them, that I may just make things worse. Now, I don't know if I'm the only person that feels this way, but I have a strong suspicion that maybe some of you guys might possibly be in the same boat when things like this happen. What she did here is she took this bag of peas and she's like, okay, how am I going to share this with the new media community, with the community of people surrounded around my new media projects? I don't want people, I am totally taking into my own account what I think may have been going through her mind. This isn't coming directly from her, but I imagine she's thinking, how can I share this in a way that people don't feel alienated from me, and they don't have to feel extremely awkward on what to say to me or how to approach me. And I kind of picked that up from the way that she recounts the whole idea of, for me, this was a way to bring, to bring some lightness, a little bit of lightness to a very serious subject that, could have been very dark and grim, and everybody would have been all dark and somber. And she did this in such a way that is just amazing. And I tell you, if that has anything to say about how she is in marketing in the Second Life movement, by golly, no wonder she's recognized and revered among the Second Life community as the person to market. Because, she is, in a way, and I say this in admiration, she has found a way to market the news of her being diagnosed with breast cancer. And she's done it in a way that makes people feel included, because now what happens is people's like, okay, well, she's obviously thrown this lighthearted picture of a bag of frozen peas up against her breast in this picture, in this avatar. And so what people did is they started to say, okay, I know how we can support her, so she doesn't feel awkward, so she doesn't feel silly. We'll start taking pictures of ourselves and incorporating peas into our avatars. And thus began a movement in the new media community. And what's amazing is that through this movement, as soon as I learned what was going on, and as soon as I started seeing what was happening, and as soon as I read just a short little blog entry here and a blog entry there, and read a couple of tweets from Susan Reynolds, I immediately felt connected to her crisis and to her issue in her life, and had this personal feeling. Even though I've really not participated with her in the new media community at all, I automatically feel this connection to her and what's going on. And I immediately took my avatar, which everybody knows that follows me, that I have this black and white avatar with me with this very serious look on my face. Almost looks like I'm constipated, but it's black and white. And I took it the very first day I got my MacBook, and that's what I've always used. So I cleared out the background and put this black and white image on a background of peas. And I can't remember who it was right now, but one of you said, "Oh, I love your new avatar," and they said it sounds like a joke. What's black and white with green all over? And so that was my avatar. And what's neat is this, okay? Through the simple gesture of changing my avatar to having, this normal black and white background that everybody's used to seeing, to now see my same black and white image of myself with a green background with a bunch of peas, 500 to 600 people who were following me were saying, oh my gosh, what is up with the peas? Okay, I seen it with, 2 or 3 other people before, but now Cliff has changed his background to a bunch of peas. Will you please tell me what's going on? And I got direct messages after direct messages. And so I did a couple posts and just posted on Twitter. It's like, this is all in support of Susan Reynolds and a way to encourage her. She's somebody that is very revered in the new media world, and she's recently been diagnosed with cancer. And so I pointed, linked to her post about, what's up with the peas, where she explains how it all got started. And it was amazing. It was simply amazing how many people that follow me immediately went out and read that and started changing their avatars. And I'm sitting there seeing people in my community around the GSPN.TV network of podcasts that we produce here in our studio, and now all of a sudden I'm seeing people in my community explain to other people in my community about Susan Reynolds, who they had never heard of before today, but now they feel connected to her and are looking to encourage and support her. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And so I felt this was worthy of a rather lengthy blog entry and also an episode of the podcast Answer Man, because this is what new media to me is all about. New media is not podcasting. It is not video blogging. It is not YouTubing or Revering. It's not Facebooking or MySpacing. It's not Plaxoing. It's not even Second Lifing. What new media is all about is bringing the world together using technology and building community. I mean, real relationships online happening through the use of technology in a way that's never been possible ever before. And I will tell you that for me right now, sometimes I really get passionate and I really get sucked into things. But for me, I have to think that the new media peas and Susan Reynolds and the Boobs on Ice, I mean, this has to be, for me, I think the most exciting moment in new media in 2007, even beyond all the other things that I've experienced. And I've experienced a ton of wonderful things in new media this year. I mean, heck, even the fact that I've decided to go full time, I think this eclipses that as the new media peas. And I don't know what this means for the future, but what I do know is that what it means for Susan Reynolds. And I'm going to let you hear a little bit about this, because New Media Jim, if you don't know who New Media Jim is, check him out at twitter.com/New Media Jim. He is very popular in the new media and in the popular media as well, or the popular media, but traditional media. And he actually went and he met up with Susan Reynolds today, and in typical new media fashion, he decided to take a moment with her today, with Susan, and they did an Utters post. Now, if you're not familiar with Utters, that's UTTERZ, and if you follow my blog at podcastanswerman.com or cliffravenscraft.com, you have probably seen me post my own Utters messages. But here's a little sound bite of what's going on with Susan Reynolds. I want you to listen to this closely, and I think it'll illustrate what I'm trying to get across here. Oh, hold on. Let me pause and I'll hook up. Okay, sorry about that. Now I'm all hooked up to my MacBook. Here we go.
Hey everybody, Jim Long here, and I am with Susan Reynolds and her family. Susan, say hi.
Hi, how are you? It's not really Jim here. It's his crazy cousin, Jim Bob. He has this really odd hat on, and everybody in the worldwide burger chain are looking at him really odd. I think I'm leaving now.
I think Ann Ohio called that spiffy hat, did she not?
It's a fabulous hat. It looks like, there are fishing lures hanging out of it, and there's a kind of a smell coming from it, so I'm not sure.
I got to dig up spiffy hat. So tell us how things went today.
Things went fine. They took blood. they had a problem getting blood, but I have very small veins. I'm very stingy. But otherwise, it went fine, and Kate's like coughing. And tomorrow, and they did an EKG, so apparently my heart's still beating. That's good. Tomorrow they're going to put radioactive dye in me, so you'll be able to see me probably for a couple states. Just get out the whatever those radiometers are. Yeah, radiometers. Yeah, so we're good.
At what point are the doctors going to take your phone away from you?
I don't know. I was allowed to have it today. We'll see. I hear Sibley Hospital is really nice, so maybe they won't take it away from me at all. But I won't be able to see what you tweet. I'll just be able to tweet to you. I need an iPhone. We really need to get Jeff Pulver to fund this.
Jeff Pulver, if you're listening, Susan Reynolds needs an iPhone. That's an iPhone for Susan Reynolds. Or anybody else out there who is in a position to do that. This is a social media project. So let's talk about that real quick before you head out the door here. How has this community come together and rallied around you? How does that make you feel?
Fabulous. Fabulous. I mean, there's no way that I could have done this without this group. I mean, there's just no way.
Well, it's been very impressive and heartwarming to me just to see this. And I mean, with everybody in this community, with a lot of these different things that people rally around, and I'm sure it must be for you too.
I just can't tell you. I mean, I talk about it all the time. My husband comes home at night and I go, look, there are peas. Look at all these peas on this page. And look, so-and-so did this with the video. And I mean, there's just no way that my neighborhood could get together and do something so fabulous. You guys rock.
Hey, there you have it. That's Susan Reynolds. That's straight from the source. So, but just for the record, I showed up at the Global Burger Chain, and she did not save any French fries for me. Well, that's all. That's all for now. We'll talk to you soon, and I'm looking forward to seeing Susan tweets tonight and tomorrow. See you guys.
Alrighty, so there we go. I mean, isn't this an amazing story? And it's more than just a story. I don't think that this is just a story. This is an event like none other. And I really want to encourage all of the listeners of the podcast Answer Man and of the GSPN.TV community, get behind Susan Reynolds and support her. If you need help out there, I'm sure that if you all you need to do is go to twitter.com and sign up for an account. And basically, if you need some people to follow, go to the gspn.tv/forum, and in the introduce yourself section, there are, I think, about 80 or 90 people who've listed their Twitter IDs in there. Go ahead and start following them, and just say, hey guys, I'm a gspn.tv community member, and I want to help support Susan Reynolds. How do I change my avatar? How do I get an avatar to support her? And how do I let her know? And also, there's a way that you can help by basically with a couple links, and they're all in the show notes for this episode of the podcast Answer Man, and it's under useful links to follow up on Susan's fight. The first link is for Boobs on Ice, which is susanreynolds.blogs.com/boobsonice. Just click on the link. It's easier to get there. Anyway, this is Susan's blog where she actually shares her fight against this cancer. And let's see here. Then the next link is the frozenpfund.com. And this is a website that's being created to raise money for breast cancer research in honor of our friend Susan Reynolds. There is Frozen Pea Friday. And Frozen Pea Friday is a Flickr group that's been created where you can go in and upload your avatar just to show her that you've created this avatar. And so once you get your ID account, you can go in there. Currently, 112 people have uploaded their avatars to show Susan Reynolds and support her and encourage her. I mean, how about that? Just to encourage somebody by sending them a 300 by 300 image or 100 by 100 image or whatever of just showing your creative use of peas. I mean, that's awesome. And then, of course, there is a whole, you can follow all of her stuff on twitter.com/Susan Reynolds. And there's even a special Twitter ID that's been set up. It's called P-Apple, or actually it's P-Apple, which P-E-A-A-P-L-E, I believe. Actually, no, I think I have that wrong. It's P-E-A-P-L-E. I need to get that corrected in the blog before I put it out in the show notes. But anyway, it's a special Twitter account for friends of Susan Reynolds, determined to help her kick breast cancer's hind end, is the way that I have phrased it. And Susan, if you happen to be listening to this, or if you go and read the blog entry, I am so honored to get to know you through this new media. And I want to let you know that my thoughts, my prayers are with you. My prayers are with you as you go in and have this radioactive dye injected into you tomorrow. I've read your blog and just the nervousness and the nerves that are settling in, and I just want to encourage you and just say, my thoughts and prayers are with you, and I will be praying tomorrow. And every time I see a P on Twitter, I'm going to be reminded to just briefly under my breath throughout the day, just to remember you in prayer. And I know that my listeners will do that as well. And I just want to say thank you for just the way that you've handled this. Thank you for taking what is usually, even especially for me, a very awkward situation, to hear about your crisis in this way, and to make it so easy for me to encourage you and to speak openly about this and how to encourage. I mean, wow. Thank you for the gift of giving us the ability to encourage you. I just want to say that it's made my new media year. I just want to thank you, Susan Reynolds. My best wishes are for you, and my prayers are definitely for you. And I want you to know that I honestly do believe, I have faith that you will make a transition from a cancer patient to a cancer survivor. And may God richly bless you, and thank you.